Hey y'all, how y'all doing? That's good. Welcome back to my channel. It's Coach J, your favorite Black millennial life coach, here with another video on co-parenting. Yes, co-parenting. I am so tired of the stigma that Black men don't take care of their children and Black women are bitter baby mamas and child support and it's exhausting. I can go on for hours and hours and hours. Okay, I could go on for hours about all of the negative connotations around co-parenting when it comes to Black millennials. Like I could just go on and on. So today I'm going to give you 8 helpful tips to make your co-parenting journey a piece of cake. But before I get started, of course, I need you to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Now let's go. Okay, so the first tip that I would give you is to establish boundaries with your co-parent. I am currently struggling with this, but it is super helpful. Something that I think that is important with established boundaries is letting somebody know, like, hey, around this time every night, I put him in the bed, I put her in the bed, you need to call before this time and that time. Me, I'm like, oh, you can't tell me that I'm still kind of getting over that. But establishing boundaries is super duper helpful as it comes to co-parenting, especially when you no longer are in an intimate space, because I understand the back and forth sometimes, especially when the child is still very young. It can be a reoccurring issue, but when both parties have decided that this no longer works for real this time, and even when somebody else moves on, boundaries have to be established to respect the other parent's privacy. So you have to respect that. And I think that's where a lot of issues arise in co-parenting, especially with Black millennials, is we don't respect people's boundaries. So it's just like, and we have a possession thing with our kids. Oh, this is my baby. You can't my baby. And it just makes the situation like frustrating. So establishing boundaries with your co-parent on anything, whether it be time calls or hey, pickup dates or popping up at the houses or whatever it might be, right? I think it's very important to establish a boundary. Create stability within your co-parenting dynamic, and it also creates stability for the child, right? And it just keeps down confusion. If you already go ahead and lay forth the rules or the things that you expect and get that part out of the way, because it can be difficult, especially since you've been intimate with this person and deciding, and also if you guys ended on a bad term or a good term, go ahead and establish those boundaries from the jump. Will make everything else smooth, right? And your co-parent should be able to say, okay, you know what, that's cool, right? For the sake of the child. The second one is, y'all not gonna like me, the men gonna be on my neck for this one, but it needs to be seen. Number 2, decide on money, especially if it's a situation where the courts are not involved, right? Which I pray that they're not, because we're adults and we can handle it. In my co-parent situation, unfortunately, I did get the courts involved, but I went back. I took them off. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm being transparent here. But decide on the money. Decide on it early, like before the baby comes. Like, listen, we're not going to be together. That's fine. The baby is with me the majority of the time, or the baby is with you the majority of the time. Or, hey, like me and my son's father, we split my son down the middle, 50-50 equal each. And we live in 2 different states. So when he's with me, I take care of him, and when he's with his dad takes care of him. And if I need anything, or his dad needs anything, or we want to get him something, we'll have a discussion. But certain things like childcare, Christmases, birthdays, establish that in the beginning. Like, hey, how you want to split things down the middle? Hey, how do you want to break this up? How do you want to do? I think establishing those money boundaries early would also be a great help, a big help. Because a lot of times men feel like, what I hear and what I've observed on social media, men feel like women be trying to dig in their pockets when it comes to the children. And if you go ahead and set your expectations up front, like, okay, this is what I need from you per month to take care of our child. This is what I need help with every month. This is what I need you to pay. If you go ahead and do that, it's no back and forth. There's completely no back and forth about it, and the expectation and the boundary is already set, and so everybody knows how they're supposed to show up within the co-parenting relationship as it comes to finances. Me and my son's father, we would split daycare down the middle. Like, okay, we split in daycare. Of last Christmas, I go dumb, right? But this year I'm like, hey, you buy the toys, I buy the clothes. Birthday party, okay, where we throwing it at Chuck E. Cheese is $400, $300. Okay, here's $175, $150. You know, we split things down the middle, but it's a conversation about money. You can't be afraid to have it. Also, women, I love y'all to death, but I think something that I dealt with in my egoism was asking. I don't want to have to ask you. I don't want to have to ask you. And men, something else that I want you guys to think about while I'm picking on my ladies, because you gotta let go of that ego. You have to ask. Nobody's gonna know if you need something until you say, hi, I need something. Men, if you buy yourself shoes, your kid is a human being. Your kid needs shoes, your kid needs clothes, your kids needs diapers, right? Don't always assume that the mom can do it all. And these conversations can get really intense and they can be very uncomfortable, which is why I feel like establishing money boundaries early is super duper important. So, third tip, communicate effectively. This is going to be like a hard one because parenting situation, for starters, obviously it was something about this person that you decided that you didn't want to deal with in a romantic setting anymore. So there's already that right there. There's already that. Or here he go, or here she go, right? My son's father, and probably everybody I ever dated, says that I'm very dramatic. Where'd I get that from? And that gets under his skin. I don't think I'm dramatic. I think that I'm a planner. And when things don't go as planned because the plan wasn't followed, it irritates me. Like, okay, in order for this to happen, we need to do this, 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 and this. You don't do this, 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 and this, and then that don't happen, and now we're in a predicament. I'm upset. And that could be irritating for me and for my child's father. So when we get into these situations where we have to communicate about something that is probably not the easiest, or that's frustrating us both, be calm. And if you know in that moment that you can't be calm, be adult enough to say, let's table this and let's talk about it at another time, right? Don't hit below the belt, because at the end of the day, you can't, it's not like a boyfriend that you just finna cut off. You're gonna have to keep seeing this person, and even after you cuss them out and say all these hurtful things to them, they're gonna reappear, and they're gonna keep reappearing. They're gonna keep showing up until your child is old enough or sufficient enough to take care of themselves. And even after that, like grandkids, y'all tired, bro. Communicating and being able to control your emotions is a really big part of communication. Also, being very upfront and honest. Lying to your co-parent, especially about things that concerns the child or things that you might have said you were going to do or things that you want to do, can make things difficult. So be honest, be transparent. If you said, hey, I'm going to do this, and you're not in a position to do that anymore, say it. Like, be honest. And I know, fellas, y'all like, oh, this bitch gonna hold it over my head. Okay, you do have those, but this video is for the emotionally mature. Okay? Be honest and be transparent about anything that you have going on. And ladies, you as well. Don't take frustrations out on him because things aren't going right in whatever you got going on, and then you try to make it a co-parent relationship situation, right? That's not okay. That's not right. And the only person that ends up affected is a child. So communicate effectively. And part of communicating, which leads me into number 4, is set a schedule. A schedule on when you're not going to get your kid, it cuts down so much confusion. And let me tell you what else it does. It gives the mother a break. It gives the mom a break. And I'm telling you, if you got your child more, if men honestly, set a schedule. Setting a schedule gives the mom a break. It gives the child exposure to both parents, not just the mom. And I can't really judge all situations, but my own situation, my son is so happy and he's so smart and he's so well rounded because he is with me 50% of the time and he's with his father 50% of the time. And I know that schedule is not doable for every co-parenting relationship, but setting a consistent schedule where you see your child, and it goes for mothers or fathers, setting a consistent schedule where you see your child would reduce a lot of problems. Because speaking from a woman's perspective, because this is a YouTube channel for women, we need breaks. I haven't been in a position to where I haven't not had a break. And sometimes I have my son and I still need a break, right? So my son goes with his dad half of the year, but we break it down like every 3 or 4 months, right? And during my time of having my son, I'm like, ooh, I just need to get out and clear my mind. Like, this baby has been yelling at me all day. Like, he wants juice, he wants chips. Like, what am I just need a break, Nas. And there's women out there that have to deal with that 365 days of a year. So of course she's finna bitch you out. Of course she don't got nothing good to say. Of course she's nagging. Of course, because she's tired as shit. She is tired of dealing with your child. These kids is some gangsters, okay? So setting up a consistent schedule would not only take the load off the mom, which is really needed, but it will also benefit the child. My son and his dad, they have the best relationship. One of the things that me and my son's father used to have issues about when he was first born and before he got here was, he's not going to know who I am because he's always going to be with you. He's not going to know who I am. And in a lot of situations where I see Black men become more hands-off, is the mothers keeping the children away from their fathers out of their own spite, right? And they still be needing a break. So it's like, sis, the math not mad thing. You need a break, but you're not going to let him see the baby. That don't make sense to me. So, yeah, be open to a set schedule. Now, ladies, and then be open to flexibility within the schedule. Be open to flexibility within that schedule because things happen. If he can't get him this weekend, or if she needs you to get him an extra weekend, make sure that you have room for flexibility because life happens. Life happens. Things happen all the time. But if you already have a set schedule, you're able to plan out your events in your life so much better without having a kid, right? Okay, so I'm not going to have my son next weekend. I can do this. I can do all of these things. I'm not going to have my son on Tuesday. That means I can get this done, this done, this done. I can set my schedule for this. A lot of times as Black women, we feel like we don't have enough time because we have to do all these things, but sitting down with your co-parent and establishing a schedule would free up some time and allow you to be more productive. And the same with you, Dad. Number 5. Okay, I think I got these numbers mixed up, so I'm gonna just keep going with it. It's gonna be 8 though. Treat your co-parent like family. Like my co-parent, and as y'all can see, I call him like a co-parent, like my homeboy, like. But treat your co-parent like family. y'all are literally, y'all bloods are intertwined within this human being. And I just kept thinking in my head, like, I'm a beef. I have issues with somebody that I have to share the most precious gift I've ever received from God with. I can't beef with you, bro. Like, I can't, I can't, I can't have problems with you. And I have to share my most prized possession with you at the same time. One of them gotta go. And me sharing this baby is not an option. So I have to put that beef shit to the side. Like, I have to let it go. I have to not do that. And that, and parents and men and women, that's going to take sometimes being a bigger person in a lot of situations, because we're not human. And we have to grant each other grace, right? We have to grant each other grace. So he might or she might say something not okay, right? And that's not making an excuse or saying it's okay, but we all get angry, we all make mistakes. So grant them grace. Treat them good. Treat your co-parents like family. Like, look out for them. The easier you make the relationship, the more easygoing you are in the relationship, in the co-parents relationship, I'm telling you, the easier it's going to be. During the times where I did not like my son's father, because we ain't always been like this, I still didn't treat him bad. I didn't treat him bad. I didn't cursing him in front of my son. I didn't, fight on him and do all these other things. I didn't do that. Because for one, again, everything, all these tips that I'm giving you, if you choose not to follow them, all that, only thing it's going to do is affect your child. And I love my son so much that, like, I'm not doing nothing to mess him up. Shout out to my mama, rest in peace. And I love every sacrifice that she ever made for me. But there were times where she didn't treat her co-parents like parents, right? And I saw that. And there were times where my dad didn't treat her like a co-parent, like a family member, right? So, and you don't do deceitful things to your family. You're not mean to your family. You don't, well, I hope y'all not out here acting like that now in Big Mama house. But you just don't do those type of things to family. So, yeah, treat your co-parent like family. Be reasonable, okay? There's going to be some situations where you're going to have to be reasonable. And this is going to probably lead me into my next tip, but be reasonable when it comes to time. Like holidays and all that stuff. Yeah, you want your baby with you on certain holidays, but this is the bed that we have to lay in by choosing not to be with the people that we procreated with. So be reasonable with your co-parent, right? Also, another thing to be reasonable about is Black women out here making money. Black women out here making money. Black women out here doing all this stuff. And I love that for us. However, sometimes we overcompensate our kids. And with us overcompensating our kids and with the way we want, their fathers and stuff to show up for them, you can't expect somebody to do what you do on your budget. Don't count pockets, right? Be reasonable. Men don't see a point in throwing a $1,500 birthday party. They don't. If they don't want to throw the birthday party or help contribute to a $1,500 birthday party because they don't see the value in that, figure out a way to meet in the middle. But don't be unreasonable, okay? And don't do petty shit. The least amount of petty shit, the better, okay? And I know it's hard, ladies, and I know, and men, because y'all do some petty shit too. But leave the pettiness alone. I would like to directly talk to my ladies. Don't treat your child like a possession. I'm guilty. I promise I'm guilty. Don't treat your child like this my baby. I tell you what to do with my baby. Especially when the dad is present and trying to be involved. He's trying his best. There's not a playbook on parenting. There's not a playbook on fatherhood. There's not a playbook on motherhood. It ain't no no playbook on it. Right? There's no playbook on parenting. So don't my baby your co-parent to death, because it's not your baby. It's y'all baby. And I think one of the reasons why I get women say, oh, I wish I could get a break. Oh, I wish I could do this. And sometimes I know it's men out there that just choose not to be active or hands-on with their child. But we have to, if you really want to live in your soft girl era, you have to stop trying to be the strong, independent, single black mama. It don't feel good. And one of the ways to put down that cape of being a strong, single black mama is let go of the possession. That child is not yours. That child is you and your co-parent's child. So include your co-parent in on the decisions that's being made on behalf of the child. Allow the co-parent to make some calls, right? You can't expect your co-parent to show up and do the things that you want them to do, but then take away their rights and their privileges as it comes to the child when it's not beneficial for you, right? That's not fair. I get asked all the time, and it's so irritating. You gonna let your baby stay with his dad for half the year? Like, and my response back to that is, he lets him stay with me for half of the year. Because this is our child. I don't own my son. His dad doesn't own him, right? He's not only mine. I created this beautiful little boy with his father, right? And so we both of our voices are important. Both of our needs and what we want for our son, they're both important. And we have to stop treating our children like possessions, right? Because they're not. Especially specifically, I know it's specifically when it comes to black men that want to be involved. Because they're out there. They're out there. Every black man that I came in contact with wants to be involved in his child's life, wants to be involved in Oz's life. They're out there, but you have to grant them that space. And one way to grant them that space is by letting go of some of your control. And I had to learn how to do that. I still find myself trying to big boy my way into situations with his dad, or make my say so the final say so, and I have to go back and I have to apologize. And don't be afraid to do that either with communicating with your co-parent. If you're wrong, say you're wrong. Say I'm sorry. I'm wrong. I shouldn't have did that. My co-parent, one of the things that my co-parent says that I do is I question him a lot about things that he feels like I should know that he would do. Like, have you been brushing Oz's teeth? Have you been brushing his hair? Got on those socks. When the last time you did this? Right? And that's just the mom in me. That's just the mom in me. But he sat me down and he told me, like, that frustrates me that you do that, because you make me feel like I can't take care of my son, or you come off like you're the only person know how to take care of him. And that's not true, because I've been doing this just as long as you have. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You're right. I think, and I had to give him his flowers. He's an amazing dad. And I don't ever mean to make him feel like he is not an amazing dad. He's an extraordinary dad to our son. I just be checking because I'm a mama. Like, It's just what I do. But that makes him feel a certain type of way. And he communicated to me that that didn't make him feel good. So I had to apologize because I don't want to make him feel like that. The last tip that I have for you guys is go to therapy. Okay? Things had gotten really, really bad between me and my son's father. It wasn't like toxic bad, but it was just like, oh, I can't stand to see him coming. I'd rather just do this by myself. Like, I hate him this much, right? And hate is a strong word, but at the time, that's how I felt. Those were my thoughts. And I immediately knew I needed some help because I knew I was going to have to deal with him for the rest of my life because I knew how much he loved my son. Being a mature adult is realizing that your feelings towards your co-parent should not affect how your co-parent and their child interacts with each other. I would have been dead wrong for keeping him from our son just because I didn't like him, or he hurt my feelings, or he broke my heart. But I had to start feeling that way. And that's a part of generational curse breaking, is being able to identify that shit. Like, I'm up here saying I'd rather parent by myself, and I know black boys need their fathers. Let me go get some help. I need some help. And I got in therapy, and I figured out why I felt the way I did. And I healed. And I still get angry with him, and I still get frustrated with him. And I'm now able to co-parent from a healed place versus the heartbroken place that I was in once I had heartbroken postpartum depression place, right? When I had my son. So I have let y'all all up in my business, but I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so thankful for you. I hope you're still doing all right. Have a wonderful day. See y'all next time around. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.